was a coda in '97, and I saw mental health just float away from us. Nobody stopped it, you
Yeah,
know. And I don't know that we can look to. I mean, the AOTA does great things, but they didn't stop it either. So I guess it like if you're interested in that part of the profession, you really have to be active in it.
I agree. Same with falls prevention.
Yeah, yeah, falls prevention and home modification. And I really see home modification is becoming very, very big. I really do.
It's growing every year, and what I'm finding with my business is it started out really slow, and now it's like a tidal wave. It's just starting to drown me, to drown.
Yeah, it warms my heart to hear you say that. Is it, do you consider it your full-time occupation now, or do you have another job?
It was until my husband got laid off. He was making a six-figure income, but my company is replacing his six-figure income, which is nice.
Good. Yes.
Yeah, but and while I work for health insurance someplace else, so it's been able just part-time to really make some good money. But I do
Okay.
construction too. It's not just OT. I've got a builder's license and I do construction.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
fill in for both. Plus I do adaptive equipment. I provide adaptive equipment through my company, which is what hopefully all of us can do. We've been talking about that. Um, and we're going to be meeting about that in January. But
Yeah, there's so many things that are related, and it seems like you really have to wear a couple. And that the more I look into falls prevention, what works the best is a lot of different interests coming together. Certainly physical therapists have something to say with fall prevention, but OTs have just as much to say. And home modification, definitely, we shouldn't be pushed out of that. We have a lot to say about uh, how the environment of the home keeps people safe and comfortable.
Well, and that was part of my goal in organizing this group because I feel like our biggest competitors, and anybody else speak up if you got an opinion, um, are the builders. People want their home modified for accessibility. They go to the builders, and that just drives me bonkers.
Yeah, well, they have right now the only specialization that's really recognized, the CAPS.
You're right. And I know AOTA started their own certification, but it doesn't seem to be that great from what I've heard.
Well, maybe we can change that.
I hope so. I hope so. But thank you so much for sharing. I'm gonna get a hold of Nancy, and I don't think, like I said, I don't see her name up here, so she must not be here tonight. But I want to get you on for maybe next Monday. Would that be too soon? Not
No, that would be
like
fine.
in 2 weeks, the third Monday?
Whatever you want is fine.
Okay, perfect, wonderful. And I'll send you an email. We can go over the details.
Hmm.
Does anybody else have anything they want to share?
Well, I wanted to say I have a meeting lined up with a woman. There was a woman that helped us start Meals on Wheels, and I fortunately I'm going to be able to meet with her in a couple of weeks because in my head I was thinking the people that are getting Meals on Wheels, I feel like that is the population I would like to target to go after and do fall prevention things in their home. Because I'm thinking that's exactly who could probably benefit from an OT going in and doing fall prevention. And I wanted to see if there's any way to tie in when somebody gets a referral from Meals on Wheels, if it can be tied into them getting a home assessment. So that's where I'm going with that.
Keep us updated.
I will. I will.
I met with some people. What this whole meeting I'm hoping we can talk about, but the woman I met with was talking about you have to partner with people in the community. And that's one thing that she said has made her business huge. And she's been focused on energy conservation, but Meals on Wheels is a great partnership.
Yeah, and they have a lot of funding too. So I'm curious. I just want to. The woman I'm meeting with is just such a great resource, given that she basically started Meals on Wheels. So
Wow.
I thought she would have a lot of good information or point me in a good direction for how to link OT and what we're doing with the people, like I said, getting Meals on Wheels services.
When are you meeting with them?
It was supposed to be Wednesday, and then we changed it to, I think, January 8th. I have to look at my calendar.
Well, make sure, in case we forget, is to let us know how that goes.
Absolutely, I will.
And if you're going to do any planning, if you want to, work with the group, I think it'd be great to brainstorm. We can do it on a second or fourth Monday or one of the main meetings.
Okay,
Job.
sounds great.
Very good job.
Anybody else?
Mommy?
Hi, hello.
Hello.
You get this stick.
Hi, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Rochelle Francis, and I just recently moved to a suburb right outside of Tampa, Florida, and I am very interested in learning more about home modifications. I'm an occupational therapist, and any advice that you all can give or anything, I would be more than happy to listen and work under you, study under you, just take in all the advice you can give.
Wonderful. Are you planning on starting a business? Because you're in a really good spot.
You know what? I would love to, but I don't know not only the first thing about starting the business, but how to grow my experience in home modifications. I have not become CAP certified just yet, but if that is the first step that I need to do is to take those 3 classes, I kind of need a little blueprint on how to um, get my feet wet so that when I do start the business, I will have some sort of experience and credibility. Of course, I work in skilled nursing, and I go and I do home evaluations. So I do have some experience in home evaluations, but it's kind of taking it to that next level of remodeling.
Yeah. And we should probably do more with that, I would think, here, um, as far as education. You know
Hmm.
what? Does anybody remember where Carolyn Sithong is from? From the Tampa area? I'll have to find out, Rochelle, because there's someone named
Hmm.
Carolyn Sithong who's doing really great things with home modifications, and she would be a really good
How do
resource.
you spell her last name?
Sithong.
Okay, I'll look her up.
Yeah, just do a email, do a Google on her. She's got a really nice app for aging in place, and so but I know she was referring a lot of different work to a lot of different people, and you're
Hmm.
in her state. I can't remember where she lived though.
Hmm. Is it okay if I can talk to you on the side or anyone on the phone call that has a successful business on the side and just kind of pick your brain a little bit?
Um, well, or we could do. I like to do it on and everyone else please speak up. But I like to do it on either these meetings or the
Mhm.
face. We have a Facebook group which I'll send you a link to, and also a LinkedIn
Okay.
group. And that's a good place to do discussion because then you get everybody chiming in.
Okay. Okay.
I think um, the Facebook group is probably a little more active. And
Okay.
I'm not sure why that is, but that's where it seems to go. But I can send you.
I, I, I was going to say I find it helpful too when we talk about it all together because truly, Rochelle, I think there's a lot of people in the same position as you where we're just trying to get our feet wet and get a business going
Right.
and grow our experience. So I think there's a lot,
Okay.
like I said, a lot of people at that level. So it's great when we all talk
Okay.
together.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Thanks for introducing yourself. Is there anyone else who would like to introduce themselves that's new this week, or would just like to introduce themselves? Who hasn't done that? Well, I'll introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I'm Karen Cook. I have a company called Functional Homes, and I have two companies, Functional Homes and Barrier Free OT. Functional Homes does accessible remodeling. We do anything from grab bars to new additions. Um, and then I also have Barrier Free OT. That's evaluations, and both Barrier Free OT and Functional Homes does design. We have architects and designers we work with that contract through us. So, and we've been in business since 2006. This will be our 10-year anniversary. So that's exciting.
Wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's still fun. That's the coolest thing about home mods. They're a lot of fun. So, does anybody else have anything they'd like to share or interesting going on? All right. Well, let me tell you what's going on here. Through Carolyn Sithong, she introduced me to a builder here in Southwest Michigan who does predominantly remodeling. And what they do, they started out doing what they called energy audits, where they go in and tell people they charge $250 to go in and do an energy audit. And they would tell people, what they could do to conserve energy, recommend products, that sort of thing. Um, and it's sort of grown. She said at first they were just going in, replacing windows, doing insulation, um, whatever else they do with energy, with their energy audit. So they go in, do the energy audit for $250, make recommendations, and then do the work. And she said she started out doing it contracting, and that's how I run my business right now. I've got about 50 builders that work for me, and they are subcontractors. They're not actually my employees, which gets me away from having to pay for workman's comp insurance, which can be really expensive. And also, I have a builder's license, but that way I have them, when they do the work, pull all the permits under their own builder's license. And all the builders that work for me are licensed and insured, which is similar to what she's doing, or what she was doing. Now she's hired the builders. Most of the builders work for her. But they decided that they wanted to go into, and I wrote a little scope of work. So I met with them last week, and they cover quite a big area. They're a pretty large company. And they, like I said, they specialize in remodeling and energy conservation, and they're looking to partner with someone. They've been wanting to get into the aging in place market, but and here's the history: everybody got the caps, the owners, and quite a few of the builders, but they don't feel qualified still to make recommendations. And really, the caps course, I think it's really good for marketing and a feather in your cap, but it really doesn't tell you much as far as how to modify. They have one day of modifications, one day of marketing, and I think one day of how to speak with elderly or something like that. So anyway, she said she got everybody trained, she put everybody through the CRAPS course, but nobody feels qualified to make recommendations. So none of the builders are making recommendations. And most of the people they work with, the demographic is 45 to 65, which is a really good demographic for aging in place. So she's really been pushing her builders, tell them where they need grab bars, install grab bars, make these recommendations, and they're not doing it. The builders still aren't doing it. And she said they just don't feel comfortable knowing where the grab bars should be placed or how to install them. And she kind of hit a pain point for me, or how to set up a bathroom for accessibility. And she's telling me all this, and she can't figure out why her builders aren't doing these things. And I looked at her and I was like, because they're builders. They don't know accessibility. And so, that's where her problem is. As the building company, she can't get her builders to recommend anything because they don't know how to do it. The other thing she's having a problem with is, even with the grab bars, they don't know how to install. There's a trick to installing grab bars, installing them well. And she says she thinks part of the problem is they don't know how to install grab bars or where to install grab bars. So I think they need the OT to show them where. I have a partner. We've been working together since my business started. He's not my partner on paper, but he's my partner, my mentor. and he's been doing this for 35 or 40 years. And so we're gonna work with him to have him teach their builders how to install grab bars, and they're gonna pay us to do that. But what they want to do is they're interested in having barrier-free OT, having OTs go and make the recommendations on how to evaluate the homes. And so, and their other pain point is the owners of this company don't know what products are available for accessibility. For instance, there's beautiful grab bars out there, but they didn't know where they were, and they don't know the grab bars that match. Like when I do a home, I try to make it beautiful. I don't want it to look like a hospital, and it doesn't cost that much more to have a pretty grab bar rather than just the regular grab bar. I mean, you can get expensive grab bars that are $100 or $150 a piece, but for a 24-inch grab bar, it's about $35, and for a pretty one, it's about $40. I mean, there's not a big change, it's not a big difference. And so that was one of the things. They don't know what the suites are. Like I've got different grab bars that I recommend that go with different faucets and roll hooks and all that other stuff. So it's beautiful and it all matches, same finish, same design. They don't know any of that, and that was another thing they wanted. It was really interesting talking to them because we've been talking a lot about partnering with builders, and sometimes it can be difficult. So it was nice to talk to a builder who's been trying to get started in this area, but doesn't, what are their pain points? So these are their pain points. And, as we talked, they're kind of in competition with me because this is what I do as the functional homes is the accessible remodeling, but I do catastrophic injuries. I don't do aging in place because I don't know how to market to this. I don't know how to market to this aging in place market where you can make money. I've done a little bit of aging in place. My company covers the entire state of Michigan. Michigan's a very rural area. So in my area, there's probably, I don't know, 50,000 people in our county, possibly. So there's not a lot of people to draw from, but I've been doing some aging in place just around my area because it's simple and it's easy for me to go out rather than to send. I've got several OTs that work for me, but I have to pay them. So figure, I can stop by somebody's house, figure out the recommendations with one of my guys and we can give them a bid and blah, blah, blah. But I find it hard to sell. And I don't want anything that's hard to sell. I want it to go, I want it to work. So I don't do anything with, I don't do a whole lot with aging in place. I don't understand the market. But as I said, this company's serving the 45 to 65, which is a really good market. And then, so what this company, it's Job Flex is part of the name of it. So what they want to do is they want to partner with us or partner with Barrier Free OT. So I'll provide them with occupational therapists to go out and do the evaluation with their builders for the aging in place. And they've got, like I said, they cover Southwest Michigan. And I hope I'm telling you this in a way that's understandable. The way they grew their business, and this is where the Meals on Wheels thing just really strikes a chord, is they feel that partners are key, and the way they've grown their energy business is by partnering with many nonprofits. And she said that gives them buy-in and trust from their customers. And again, their partners are predominantly cities, like the city of Holland, that's a city near us. And I don't know what nonprofits they're partnering with. They're also partnering with different companies that do energy. I don't know what it is. I think it's Indiana, Michigan Energy or something like that, whatever their energy is. So they're partnering with all these other companies. So when they send out they do a lot of social media. So when they do their blog posts or anything like that, it goes to many other companies. And I guess when these nonprofits send their newsletters and their other sorts of marketing stuff to their customers, this company's name, JobFlex name, and what they do is on their flyers and on in their newsletters. And so that's where they get their referrals. So they get an incredible amount of referrals from what I understand. And then again, they're active in many social media channels. And that's kind of how I sort of knew about them before Carolyn brought them up, because I saw them posting on LinkedIn back when LinkedIn would share their posts. So that's what's going on with them. When we sat down to talk about it, I tried to be very honest with them, and I told them really what my interest is in working with them is promoting occupational therapy in as far as in the world of home modifications, because like I said, it really irritated me when she told me, well, my builders aren't making recommendations for how to make the house accessible. I had to look at her and say, that's because they're builders. They're not OTs. And she agreed with me with that one. So this is where we're at right now. We've gotten to the point. Does anybody have any questions? And I hope I'm explaining clearly who these people are and what they're looking for. Does anybody have any questions with this? So basically, what we decided is they're looking for a way to market, and they do a lot of research, and the other asset they do a lot of research, a lot of market research. They've got someone who's dedicated specifically for doing marketing research. And she was at the meeting with me. It was the owner and the woman in charge of marketing. And they do a lot of A/B testing. So what they do is they'll run ads with all their different affiliates. And all they have to do to run an ad is send it over to their affiliates, and it doesn't cost them anything. It goes out. I knew I didn't spell that right. Affiliates. So anyway, they just send out any information they want to send out. They send out to their affiliates. So it reaches thousands of people in the 45 to 65 demographic. And what they built their business on is comfort and secure. I think she said comfort and security. It was comfort and something else. Maybe it's saving money, comfort and saving money, because it's all, like I said, based on energy conservation. But I thought it was interesting that they have different kinds of ads, and I would love to do this, but I don't follow up I haven't been doing much marketing. Everything they do, they run ads to see if it works, and then they track everything. So I thought that was really great, because when she and I were talking, we had to set some ground rules, and what we're going to be doing if we decide to partner is we're going to be putting a lot of it on paper, since we both own construction companies. For instance, there's a little town called Saugatuck that's north of me. She will not be going anywhere south of Saugatuck to do aging in place, to offer her services. And I will not be doing anything in her area as far as aging in place. But as far as working with the insurance companies and catastrophic injuries, I'll be doing that in her area. So I want, that's one thing we had to, as business people, we had to make, we're going to make sure we have ground rules to make sure this partnership works. But it'll be interesting, because it's a way so if we run this pilot to see what works and what doesn't work as far as aging in place, offering OT services and construction, that can help all of us. I feel like this is sort of a golden opportunity for us, all of us, to see what works as far as a business goes, because here's a big business who wants to do what we want to do. Um, they're in a contained geographical area right now. And so this is one way we can all express our dreams and our thoughts through this company and have them follow through on it so we don't have to do the trial and error. So I think this is really exciting. One thing they have found in their marketing is the words aging in place is something that people don't want to they don't want to consider being a part of. It doesn't, even if they're 85 years old, they're not aging. They're not, it's like aging in place is a dirty word. So we talked about different ways to, how to market this, what kind of words we can, what kind of language, um, what kind of language could be used. And that's one thing I found as well. I don't say aging in place and I don't say accessible design. I usually say universal design. So aging in place, they're finding is a dirty word. Don't use that. Although I'm wondering about safety or fall prevention.
Excuse me, not fall prevention. They don't like that either.
No,
No.
this is a dirty word too. Well, maybe,
Yes, it is. That's another one. You can make a list. Those are the
yeah,
top two.
why don't we do that? We'll make a list.
It's just funny because if you say you're CAP certified and you say certified aging in place specialist, you can't really change that. It's in the title.
But maybe this will give us, if we can figure this out, it'll it'll give us, to give us a leg up on all those builders out there saying, I'm CAP certified. It'd be nice to turn us, to have people say, well, you know what? I'd rather work with an OT because they can make my life cool and convenient and help me to live the way I'd like.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a dream. That's what I'm hoping we can figure out. Does anybody else know any other dirty words as far as aging in place goes? Things that we should stay away from that seem to turn people off? Welcome, Louis, by the way. Aging in place, fall prevention. I don't know. What do you think about safety?
As far as the positive words, I know that they like face to face, which is difficult sometimes, especially if you have a big state like yours that isn't dense, population dense. Um, but they like face to face, and they like individualized attention. They,
You
they
like what?
like they like it to be customized for them.
Oh,
What
custom.
OT kind of does.
Yeah, I like that word, custom.
Hmm.
I use the words universal design. Not everybody knows what that is.
That's acceptable, yes.
Friendly. I don't know about health environment though.
Yeah, I don't know about health either.
I like Mahar, were you thinking what were you thinking for health environment? Were you thinking in safety? The safety
I was thinking that probably I'm thinking about healthy. I'm sorry, it came out as health, but I'm thinking healthy as, derived from wellness kind of a thing. An environment that is conducive to the individual's needs and abilities. Something along these lines. Maybe, I don't know, I agree health is not going to be the best one because people are going to think health care.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the. Do you think like healthy homes? Do you think that's good? Active home. I like that one too. Challenge free. Easy living, maybe.
Yeah.
Successful aging home environments. I think anything with aging might be that. I think that's an ugly word. From what does anybody else thoughts on that?
I agree.
Okay. But see, it sounds good though. Successful aging home environments. I mean, you know what the one thing we talked about is, do you market to the parents or do you market to the kids? Because you market successful aging home environments to the kids, I think they'll eat it up. You market it to the adults, they'll say, I'm fine. I don't need anything. That's my thought. Visitability, did we get that on there? So what do you guys think about visitability?
I like that word.
You know what though? Thing I worry about is visitability makes it sound like it's anything that has to do with disability is a dirty word. I'm going to put visitability down here. Dull. Guess I have to see to spell. Dull. I'll fix that later. Anybody else have anything? Visitability, positive words, comfort, face-to-face, custom. I really like custom too. Ginny says, I like visibility, but no one understands it. I think that's right. Conducive. You know, I think I'll put these on the next page. Conducive. Visibility is used in ARP and government sites. It looks like you spelled it right there. So do you guys think visitability is a good one, or do you think it's considered it's too much put? What do you think with visibility? Home solutions that last a lifetime of seasons. I like that. That would be a good tagline.
Mhm.
Did you just
Well,
make that up, Jenny?
yes.
Man, you should write that down. Mahar says visibility may be confusing. Is everybody looking at their chat?
No.
I think accessible might be a dirty word. Because anything that has to do with disability. Oh, that is your tagline. I like that.
Um, when you say visitability, that means any of your friends and loved ones can visit you regardless of their situation? Is that what it means?
Yes, I would
Yeah,
say.
I like that concept. I'm not sure about the word. I've never heard it before, but I think the universal, like that's what universal design is intended to do. Not necessarily, not implying that the person who lives there needs all these accommodations, but you can have friends and loved ones come over and visit you, and they have access regardless of their situation.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what it means.
Yeah, I think that's real positive. I mean, if that word becomes very familiar to people, I think that would be a very positive word.
I don't know. Yeah. If people, and like she said, is if they know what's going on. You know what I think is really interesting though? Mahar just wrote hazardous, and that might be a really good, people do things because it brings them a lot of pleasure and they can get something out of it, or they do things if it's really painful. And sometimes, to really push, to really make things work, you got to, twist the knife a little bit. And I think that's a really kind of a great word for marketing. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about hazardous? I like that word though. Hazards in the home. Louis says, I'm over 60 and not offended by the word aging. I have found people in their 40s are. Interesting. Huh. And Ginny says, visitability is a good way to sell our business, but not a tagline. I would agree with that because there's some people who need that. Because then that makes sense though. What do you guys think about visitability? Just because that way, if you have somebody who does have mobility issues, that might be something we need to promote a little bit more. Oh, that's a good. And Margie's tagline's awesome. Um, Obtaining optimal fit. My thing keeps popping up between you and your home, which is what we're doing. Kids like falls. Yeah, Ginny's right. Kids like falls prevention. Parents do not. Okay. So those are some of the things we got to figure out for ourselves, for our businesses, is what kind of words we're going to use. Because that's one thing Carol and Sithong said they found with their research is people associated occupational therapists, and I hate to write us down in dirty words, but people um, refused OT evaluations because they said there's nothing wrong with them. And yet that makes me think about too. Remember, someone was talking. We had a speaker that presented about that evaluation, the I Hope. I think it was Susie Starks. Can't remember who it was, but they said that one thing that they put in there was there were a lot of I don't know. I know somebody in this group has the I Hope, but they were talking about how they put something in the I Hope about that helped people make decisions like in their home that wasn't oh, I can't remember how she worded it. The elderly person would be making the decision, but they phrased it in such a way that it didn't come across as something they needed because they were elderly. That's something I think we all need to look at. I want to get my hands on one of those I Hope evaluations. I think I might get one, buy one. I know there's a way to get them. So, okay, so we talked about marketing and and they said with their market research they've done so far, aging in place was a dirty word. They can't use that. I think these are some really good positive words, and I'm hoping that that we can all think about this, and maybe I'm going to be focusing more on this in the next week or so because I'm going to be meeting with them again. I told them I can't meet with them because because we're doing this move right now and it's just crazy busy. Um, but I would like it if you all could tune into the LinkedIn and the Facebook with any ideas and thoughts, and we could continue the conversation, because I find that people talk, the more you think about it, the more you think of. So we talked about the marketing and the dirty words versus the positive words. Anybody else have any other ideas for either one of these things that should be used or absolutely should not be used? All right. So the other thing we talked about was how to charge for OT evaluations. They are charging right now. They do energy audits, and they're charging $250 for an energy audit, and that's just the audit. And I thought, an energy audit is cool. That's all good, but that's no less than an OT audit, and people are paying it without a problem. And then they're doing the energy audit, and then they're doing the remodeling based on the energy audit. So that's similar to what we'll be doing, or what I'm doing. I'm doing the OT eval, and then I'm doing the construction.
Karen, how long does their energy audit take? And do they have like a formal, this is what we found kind of piece of paper they give them?
Yes, they do. I believe that they have, they might have an app that does it. And so, and I should talk to her more about that. I know that they have a certain checklist, and they've got everybody's gone through training to know what to look for and how to check for the energy stuff. So I'll ask her more about that. Good point, Louie. I'm going to just write myself a note here. Ask about how they do the audit. Do they have an eval form? Now,
And how much it takes?
and how long it takes?
Yeah.
Kim and Brandy are the names. It's kind of weird because I told them this first. Usually when I have business meetings, it's with men. This was the first time I had a business meeting with all women. We all had to laugh because they were in the same boat. One thing they did find, was there another question that I was going to ask them? Oh, how long does it take? And one thing that I thought was very interesting that we had a long discussion on, and then Ginny says, just a second, oh, comfort. One thing I thought that was very interesting that they were talking about too is they didn't like the word evaluation. They thought maybe saying occupational therapy evaluation might sound too formal or too medical. They thought maybe it could be more like a whatever word we're going to use, because we couldn't figure that out. Aging in place audit is what we were talking about, but we also thought aging in place wasn't a good way to go. And I told them, I really want to promote occupational therapy in this field. That's my goal in working with them. So we were thinking of maybe calling it occupational therapy audit. Does anybody have any other thoughts on that? So I'm looking over here in the chat. It says, I use comfort, control, and independence. Good words. And then I keep hearing home health does home assessment and is paid. So why need our, okay. So I don't understand. So anyway,
Hey Karen, I have a thought about the OT
uh-huh.
piece, and I know that can be a bit misleading initially, but I mean, I was reading an article by Julie Landis, who's into ergonomics, and she was saying that people don't care about your knowledge, they care about what you're going to be putting that knowledge in and how you're going to affect their lives. And thinking about that, I'm thinking that people may talk about or may think about occupational therapy. And I found when I call my clients and introduce myself as a therapist, occasionally they would say, well, I am getting occupational therapy, and or they would expect that I will be doing therapy when I'm going to visit them to do the assessments. So I don't emphasize the fact that I'm an occupational therapist as much, but sometime during the visit or at the end or when I pass my business cards, they would realize that I am an occupational therapist. So what I'm trying to say is that I probably think that the service comes first and the title comes second. And that's why I'm thinking that probably trying to push occupational therapy may get in the way and may be misunderstood at times.
What comes second? Service comes first, and what comes second?
The title comes second, and the qualifications and the job description.
Good point.
When you are at someone's home and they are 70 and 80 years old, they want to see how you can make this environment a little bit safer and more conducive, and they are not overly concerned about whether you're a physical, occupational therapist, or even a technician. They just really care about that you're going to make a difference. But the fact that you eventually let them know that you're an occupational therapist will help them understand that you do understand the medical dimension and the disability component related to their condition. And it does lend you credibility, but I will not put it up front or use it as my first card when I build the relationship.
That's an interesting point. Is anybody else finding that?
Yeah, this is Rochelle. I think what he's saying is correct. I think in home health and skilled nursing, as soon as you even talk about being an occupational therapist, I think that our clients sometimes get very defensive, and I think maybe one of the young ladies or someone on the chat that was mentioning about home health, that an occupational therapy evaluation is already covered under their home health, under their Medicare benefits. So why would they pay out of pocket for us to come in and do this evaluation when it's already covered?
Anybody have anything to say about that? I don't, like I said, this isn't my market. I don't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
What I noticed though, because I'm starting to bill health insurance, which is absolutely painful and I hate it, is and I learned this from Karen Smith, I think, from one of these meetings, is insurance will only pay for one unit, which is 15 minutes, which is for me $40, for a home evaluation. But you can't get paid.
Oh, okay.
Who can live off? I mean, in the home evaluations I do take 2 or 3 hours.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
so what she said is you have to bill like the first 15 minutes of an evaluation and the rest as training, I think it was.
Okay.
But why aren't, so if Medicare is paying for this, how come are people getting what they need, or are they just saying pick up your throw rugs and tape down your power cords? I mean, does anybody know about that?
And Karen, I just was briefly, I was a home health OT. It was brief because it really didn't work out. But what the OTs who were training me was basically shower chairs, grab bar, recommend grab bars, the
Mm-hmm.
suction cup kind, and let me see, shower chairs, oh, commodes, and you know, bleachers and sock diners and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't going to get into anything that was going to be anything close to remodeling the house. They just didn't look at that at all.
And I wonder if that's because OTs don't know what they're doing sometimes as far as that
Yes,
goes.
they they they
Right. I
they knew,
agree. I agree with
they
that.
knew they didn't know.
Because I got super irritated with the OT because she was supposed to meet one of my builders at the home to show him where to install the grab bars, and they made an appointment time, and she showed up an hour early and left before he got there. And I thought, well, did she at least mark where she wanted him? She wasn't sure. She didn't know where to put him. That's why she left. That's what she told me later. And I thought, oh, that hurts for me to hear, which means I feel like, okay, and that's one thing that we need to work on, with this group too, is, helping educate ourselves and other OTs and how to, know where to put a grab bar. But that's a separate issue.
Right. And I think that's true because I think when you graduate and you come out, there are no specific continuing education courses on home modifications and exactly how to place things in the home, like the other lady just said, that we just go in and we do the home evaluations and we're recommending the basic equipment to them, but we really, I don't think, have ever been trained on exactly how to do those home remodifications.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's something we need to change because I know I had to do a
Hmm.
lot of research before I figured out, a lot of the different things. Even just how to design a ramp. That's so hard. But that's something OT
Hmm.
should be doing and, be paid for.
Right.
Did you take a course in that, or did you just have to kind of learn on the job?
Right. That's my question too.
Um, well, um, I started working with a builder who was doing the ramps, and he didn't know what he was doing, to be honest with you. So I ended up studying the ADA regulations, and then that particular builder moved to Hawaii, so I had to find another builder, and that's when I met John. I actually interviewed several different builders. I was looking for somebody to install aluminum rental ramps for me because I had a contract with a big company and I didn't have a builder. Um, and one of the guys I interviewed was this guy John, and he's become one of my closest friends. And he has drilled into me all the different innuendos of how to design a ramp. Plus, we're doing a lot of ramps. But I mean, that's something we should spend some time doing. It's such a big topic, and we've been doing more business stuff with these meetings. Do you feel, I mean, and if anybody, I'll send out a survey. Maybe we need to do more. We talk about it, more of the how to install grab bars, where they should be installed. Maybe I'll do some videos for the blog or something on that.
Right. I think the first level, I know for myself, before I even attempt to starting a business is so far from me right now. I need to learn the basics. I need, to be, for someone to say, yes, this is exactly what you do, and then practicing it to make sure that I'm doing right. I would be very uneasy going into someone's home and in doing it and then, not knowing like, is that exactly where it's supposed to go? I don't want to, um, I would be very uncomfortable doing that. So to me, the first step is to be trained on how to do home remodifications before I can even think about starting a business.
Okay. That's fair. That's definitely fair. And that's something we need to work on so that we can, I
And then I
mean,
have another quick,
what's that?
I just have one more quick question for you. When you said that you worked for the builder, the first builder that you worked for, what exactly did you do for them?
Well, basically, this is kind of an old story. Basically, I'm a competitive sailor, and he was on a crew that I was crewing on a boat, and we just became friends. And he said one of the things I told him what I did, and he said that he was doing a lot of wheelchair ramp business, and he just made a deal with me that that any ramps I could bring him, he would give me 25% of the take on it. And my thought was, well, I know a lot of handicapped people. And so it kind of grew from there. We started doing ramps together, and I just started marketing these ramps. He didn't want to do a partnership with me, so I just came up with my own company, Functional Homes, and just started marketing ramps because I had somebody who could do ramps for me. And then he got a bathroom and kitchen remodel job, and he didn't know how to do it. They wanted him to remodel for a guy who had a spinal cord injury. And so he asked me to do it for him. Again, he told me I'll give you 25% of the take on this job if you design it and figure out the fixtures. So I just said, "Well, that sounds good." And I just started doing research and working with the guy and figured out what he needed, and just that's where it all started for me. And then that guy went to
Okay.
Hawaii, so Functional Homes went out on its own, and that's when I started looking for other builders. I found this guy, John, and John and I worked together for a while. John's getting older though, so he started scaling back what he was doing. So I just started hiring builders in different parts of Michigan, and just that's how it went. But
Hmm.
that's why I kind of feel like just go out and get the jobs and then learn what you need to learn because there's so much out there. It's hard to know to learn it all,
Hmm.
but that's something we do need to work on. I need to give that some thought. Um, and there's a lot of good courses out there. And this is something that shocked me that I would like to share with all of you. Scott Anderley called me last week and said he's quitting. He's quitting working. It was called Home Living Experts. He's retiring from the home modifications field. And he called me, left me a message, and I called him back, and then he called me back, and I've been so busy I haven't had time to call him again. But for what that's worth, I'm really surprised because he was a good teacher. I hope he doesn't retire completely. Um,
I got that
mm,
email.
I get an email
Yeah,
indicating that he's still in the share evaluation and he's looking for someone to take care of that.
wow.
I got that too. Do you think it means that we can no longer use the share? Because I was using that. Do you think that because he's trying to find someone to buy it, that there's going to be a time where it's not usable by the therapist?
I don't know. That's a good
I
thing.
think, yeah, I think it depends on who the new buyer is going to be or the new owner. I mean, if it's going to be someone as generous, as passionate as Scott, probably they would have a heart. But if they were after the money, they will be charging for that big time.
Yeah.
I agree. And Joe wrote here, he heard the good things about the USC course, the University of Southern California. If you're going to take a course where you really want to learn, that's a course to take. It's there's a lot to it. I took it years ago, but they give you a lot of stuff they give you things to research. You get homework. There's lectures. And one thing I really liked is they had a list serve that you could post things on and you could have discussions. And it was, yeah, Jenny said she liked the USC course. That's,
Is this an online course?
yeah, it's all online. It's at homemods.org. which the only reason I know that is because my blog is homemods.net. And so, but that's a really good course if you want to learn for learning. Louis said she liked it too. Yeah, CAPS isn't real informative, I didn't think. The other person who's got a course is Deborah Young. Has anybody taken her course? I've taken some Marnie Renda's classes. She's really good.
What's the name?
Marnie Renda.
Marty?
Yeah, Marnie. She travels around the country. She just took over some, I don't know how much teaching she's doing still. I know she just took some higher place at AOTA. But Scott was a really good teacher too. I've taken several of his courses. I hope he's not done with that. It kind of sounds like he is. There's some really
And can you spell Marty's last name for me?
Renda, Marnie Renda, Marnie Renda.
Reanie.
I'll type it out for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's really
Oh,
good.
Marnie. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then I know Deb Young is trying to push one of her classes. She posted something about that on OT's creating accessible homes.
And I believe Carolyn Sithang has a course on seminar network called MedBridge.
It's called what?
MedBridge. So I came across that. I don't know how I ended up sign up for it, and I think the course was for $200 on home mods. It's by Carolyn Sithang.
You know what? I thought about this too. AOTA had a course, a free course on how to modify a kitchen, I believe, and it was by Carolyn Sithong and somebody else. And that was one thing I thought we could do for GoToMeeting sometime is put that course on because I signed up for it and it was free, so I can just share it with everybody. If that's anything anybody be interested in. I wouldn't want to do it for Monday,
I
but
definitely would.
would you? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'll set that up. Ginny says Marnie is wonderful, and who is Deb? Deb Young is Deb Young is a mover and a shaker. I don't remember where she's out of. I think she's out of like New York or something. But she's done a lot of she does a lot with NAHB. She does a lot for the CAPS courses. Okay, well I'll set up for the kitchen accessibility thing in the next week or two. And then I'll probably just send out a survey
Okay.
and find out what time works best for who, and then take it from there. What I'm hoping to do is possibly post it then on the website so everybody could have access, but I'm sure it's copyrighted, so I'm going to need to talk to Karen Smith at AOTA and see if it's okay. Because if I'm going to get in trouble, it's going to be for doing something fun, not for that. So I'll definitely set it up so we can watch it as a group. I don't think that would be a bad thing to do, but I just don't know if I can post it. So for what that's worth.
Karen, can you tell us more about the blog that you set up?
Oh, I have a blog. I haven't been blogging much lately. My company went through some huge growing pains, and so I've been having trouble keeping up with that. But so I haven't been blogging much. But my blog is, and this blog I just use for research. Like when I do my research, I just put it here. That way I can refer my clients to it if I'm telling them about something. Like if I want to tell them about bath lifts, if I can't make it out, I've got a bath lift that I take with me sometimes so they can try it out and see it. But or any kind of thing, grab bars. It's the name of the blog is homemod.net. It's also under homemods.net because some browsers act differently, so I've got it set up two different ways because some browsers like the home mod and some of them like the home mods. So either one of those. and it's just a blog. It's a blog about universal design, and I use that. And like one thing I need to do is, so I just like I've got bedrooms, how to set up a bedroom based on what you need to know to set up an accessible bedroom. You know, where to position the bed, that kind of stuff. But I need to be doing more with that. I need to set up a parking, how to measure, how to set up a parking pad is one thing I keep forgetting to put on there because every single time I got to refigure all the measurements. If I had it on the blog, I could just look at it like I do with the bedrooms. But anyway, so that's out there too as a resource, and I can put a link to that. Most of the stuff, most of these meetings, though, I've been posting more on a different blog called Operation Phoenix, which is a blog I just have for my own references for marketing and growing a business, and that's where I'll post this. So we're kind of running out of time. We got a few minutes left, but I just want to tell you the other thing we're talking about with this pilot company, and I'm going to have another meeting next Monday for anybody who's interested, and I'm going to get out a notice about that tomorrow, because I'm meeting again, like I said, with this company. I told them probably after Christmas, maybe after New Year's, but basically after Christmas, and we're all going to be thinking about it. But we're talking about how to package the occupational therapy evaluations. And again, that might not be the word we're going to be using because we weren't sure if evaluation or audit would be a better word. But you know, they're going to be introducing these services for aging in place or universal design or whatever. I think a lot of people don't know what occupational therapy is. And so I would like to use their marketing to do some testing to see how can we let people know what occupational therapy is. As far as the realm of home modifications, I would like people to think, you know, we've got occupational therapists here to, you know, get us out of the medical model because, yeah, what we do is medical, but there's so much more to it. You know, I've heard from several people, and maybe all of you have too, that occupational therapists seem to be some of the most creative people have met. But I mean, that's what we do. We modify environments to allow people to do what they want to do. So we're trying to figure out how to package OT evaluations. And we were talking, Mahar, somebody was going to say something? Mahar was talking about, you know, when he talks to people, he doesn't say he's an OT right off the bat, which is so smart to do. Although I'd like to make it so OT is cool and not a dirty word, you know? How can we do that? Like the specialist everybody wants to talk to. I don't know how we could do that, but that's what I want OT to be. So if everyone could kind of think about that, how to present us as cool. Won't be with New Times Roman though.
Are we scheduled at any time during our meetings trying to speak about draft reports?
We aren't right now. We can put that on the list. I'll talk to Nancy.
And I know that we have spoken to Scott and to other people about different apps being used, but I'm thinking that probably if we just speak about how everybody else is drafting reports if they are not using an app and what their experience is with effective reports.
Now I know some of the assessments kind of have something at the end. But you know, that was like if I go through with this home aging in place thing, I really was impressed. I have to say, I don't know how you guys felt and how many of you were here for Carolyn's um, home accessibility app for aging in place. I was impressed by that. I thought she did a great job of designing that. It looked pretty easy to use. You could show them actual recommendations. Joe says he liked it too. So I'm planning, if I'm going to do aging in place, I'm going to do it with her app and see how it goes. Because I don't want to redefine the wheel. And the reports I write, I have to medically justify everything based on recovery, rehabilitation, and care. It's just a lot. Margie says she would like to learn more about the reports and assessments others are using.
And what is the app called?
Does anybody remember what that's called?
Home design. Carolyn's
Home for Life.
home design. Home for life, maybe. Okay.
What is it? Home for Life?
Look up Carolyn Sithong.
Home for life, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Home for Life. Home for Life.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And the place where she is, I've got 3 OTs that work for me there. So I'm going to be setting them up with the Home for Life app because they don't do any aging in place stuff for me. They only do, more of the complex home evaluations, like for spinal cords and brain injuries and that kind of stuff. To find Carolyn's app, I would just either Google Home for Life or Carolyn Sithon.
Okay.
And anybody who's, if there's Carolyn actually presented to this group in the spring when it first started. But and I can put that on, a survey. Because if anybody, if she could, I'm sure she'd be more than happy to do another presentation.
I think that would be a good thing.
Do you? You think we need another one?
I think so. And didn't she also add where she linked to a lot of the products out there?
Yeah.
Like you just hit a button to see. And I thought that was something relatively new with the app. I'm not sure, but a refresher with the app would be good, especially since I was using the share and I'm thinking that's going to go away. So now I need to learn something else.
You know what? I like I said, I need to call Scott. Scott and I need to call him back. We'll probably talk in the next couple days, and I'll ask him about that. But I'd be surprised if that went away.
I know, because they were teaching in schools too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did email Vicki Brown in his office, but I haven't heard back because I was asking her that question.
I'm wondering if she still works for him.
I don't know.
Because
that's who I get the email from Vicki.
From Vicki.
Yeah, that's right. She sent the email.
Yeah. But like he called me Friday and he said, "Today is my last day. I'm done." And so I don't know. And this company LifeFit or JobFlex that has approached me about doing this pilot. They said they also approached Scott and they were working with him for a while, but what they found was Scott was partnered with Home Living Experts, which is like a plumbing supply store, and they would send people to Home Living Experts, and the people at that store didn't really know a whole lot about home accessibility. And the little area that they had set up for home accessibility products was pretty limited. And so I don't know if I have no idea what happened with that, but I have a feeling that that Home Living Experts couldn't really provide what they said they could provide to Scott. As far as training their staff and really, putting emphasis on home accessibility. I don't know though. That's just my opinion after talking to them. So So is there anything else anyone, I want to bring up real quick how to they're looking at how to package evaluations. Or maybe we'll save that for next time. It sounds like we've got some other things we need to go over though.
I think that would be a good to discuss, because the whole packaging process is going to be an integral part of how we're going to move forward with our businesses. I mean, it's just so excitingly mind-blowing
Yeah.
to hear all about those potential partners that we could have. I mean, way back you started speaking about how you get referrals from a landscaper. Now we're hearing about home energy company and then plumbing companies and on and on. And I think it's very important for all of us to be equipped with agreements and contracts and prices and branding to assure that we have a business-like process to introduce these businesses. So this is very important for us to discuss the packaging.
I agree. I'm gonna give this some thought and put it on both of like Facebook and LinkedIn. But if everyone could sort of give it a little bit of thought, um, I'm gonna set up a meeting for next Monday. Like I said, I invite all of you to come. I would love it if you did. I know that it's getting close to the holidays and you've got other things going, but if I got to make some progress with this. And like I said, I think this is a great opportunity for us all to see. I'm hoping that this group can kind of orchestrate this whole marketing program and how it should, how it shapes up, and then we can all get the results of what they're doing. Um, and it's all, basically free for us. All I have to do is provide the OTs. I got the OTs set, so I just have to get them online for that app. But and then we'll be calling Carolyn as well for that. But this real quick, I'll just give you a quick rundown of what we talked about for packaging the home OT evaluations. This company, when they first started doing the energy evaluations, they did, they call it A/B testing. Does everybody know what that is?
No.
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 Okay, what it is what like so in the true sense of the word, it's like having a control group and having an experimental group. So the control group goes on as is, the way you've always done it. That's your baseline, and then you introduce something else to it, a new factor. For instance, if aging in place is your control group, you know how much of a response you get from aging in place. So then if you want to do A/B testing, the A group would be aging in place. The B group would be something else like marketing under custom universal design. So you have two ads, one for aging in place and one for custom universal design, and see which one performs better. And what they're looking for is conversions, both in people purchasing the OT evaluations and um, going ahead and contracting with them to do the home modifications. So that's what they're going to be looking at in their A/B testing, is how does it convert as far as who buys, who buys the OT evaluations and how much money they make on the remodeling. So I can't type and talk at the same time. It looks like I could never be a teacher. Um, so they're going to be A/B testing everything. So we were talking about doing like one marketing on occupational therapy audits, one on universal design audits. How are we going to package that? And one thing they told us, we were talking about, because they've already done this with the energy market and they've conquered it. They're rocking the energy market. They've mastered it. They're ready to go on and bring in another market for an income stream. And one thing they found with energy audits is when they originally were doing them for free. When they were doing the energy audits for free, they found that they got a lot of what she called tire kickers. And so people would come in and they would do these energy audits for free, and they weren't converting as far as selling them any remodeling, and they weren't, they were just basically wasting their time. So that's when they started charging $250 for an energy audit. What they found is um, they had more serious people doing the energy audits, and that more of the people who had the energy audits done were converting into customers for the remodeling, energy remodeling, whatever that means. And they found that what really, and again, they do testing on all this, which is what really excites me about us being a part of it, and they're doing the testing for us, is and I was real honest telling them that, and she said that was okay with her, but it'll just, that whole thing with the audit being 250 as opposed to free makes, speaks volumes as far as what we're doing, our OT audits, or our home universal design audits or function audits, whatever we want to call them. So that's one thing she wanted to figure out, is the price point and how it would be packaged. Would we do a whole house? Would we do a bathroom? What would we look at? And that's one thing I'm hoping that we can all talk about. Maybe, give it some thought if you can. I know the holidays are coming up, so there's not a lot of time to think. But also, next week when we meet, let's talk about, how do you package it? What kind of A/B testing are they going to be doing? Because these are some of the things she's going to be asking me. She's going to want to talk about the marketing as far as how to present us, occupational therapists, in a positive light, and how to be packaged. So if everyone could give that some thought and we could talk later, I think that would be wonderful. And also, I think it's really good for all of us to, I want to learn more about how she's partnering with these different companies, because she told me partnerships are the key. That's how I grew my business. And I think that's what we need to do as well, whether it's Meals on Wheels or ARP or, I don't know, this National Falls Prevention. We need to get active with that. Karen, would you mind finding out a little bit more? If you wouldn't mind doing a presentation on that, maybe 2 weeks from now, the third Monday. Again, I got to speak with Nancy and see if that works for her.
Sure.
But maybe if you wouldn't mind finding out who's in charge.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's nobody, but I'll look. I'll do my best to find out who's doing what.
Yeah, because I mean, maybe somebody in this group would be willing to sit on the board, because we need to make sure there's an OT involved in that.
Yeah,
If there's
yeah,
not money, there will be coming through there.
yeah, it's important. It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Thank you, Margie, for writing that, and Mahar as well. So please think about this, and let's talk next Monday. That sounds good to everyone. And then I will also,
Yes, thank you.
oh, good. I'm going to send out something for the kitchen, and then I'll get a hold of Carolyn. So,
And what is the Facebook page?
what I'll do when I send out the next, you have to have a link. From what I understand, you need a link. Does anybody
Okay.
know anything more about? I'm not real familiar with Facebook, but I think you need a link. It's called Aim Big, AIM space BIG. You might be able to Google that and request to join. Katie's
Mm-hmm.
running that. She's not here today. Yeah, I'd like to have a
So
meeting,
mm-hmm.
but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll send out a link too in the next email that you can just click on, and then I think she'll just say, come on in if you click on the link.
How does it work with LinkedIn? Because I'm really not so clear about LinkedIn, how to get to all the stuff we're talking about that is written up on LinkedIn.
If you go to LinkedIn and go join the group OTs creating accessible homes is the one for this group. And then there's monetizing home mods, which is more of the business part underneath that. You just got to join the groups.
Can you write that out? I didn't hear that.
Yeah. The LinkedIn group, and I'll have this in the next email. The LinkedIn group
Okay.
is occupational therapists. And like I said, Deb Young just posted something on it a month or so ago about her course. That's the name of the group for this. And then the monetizing home modifications is the business part of the group. But that's I always put my blog posts on those two for sure. But on the 28th, we will have the 28th, which is next Monday at 8 o'clock. We're gonna have a meeting on how to package these evaluations, because I need to meet with these people again and start launching this promotion for their pilot program. And
When's that going to happen, Karen?
I don't know. She wants to make it go as fast as she can, but I told her we just moved, and it's just thrown plus the holiday. So we're gonna talk more either between Christmas and New Year's. Is when we're tentatively gonna talk. We're gonna just do like a go-to meeting. I don't think I'm gonna drive up there to see her. In fact, I'm going to Florida, so I know we're not going to. But I do need to figure out a lot of the details before then, before I talk to her. And I would really love to tap into the talent in this group. And I'm also going to try to get a hold of, I'm going to see if I can get Scott to sit in on this, Scott Jones. And I want to introduce you all to another man named Greg Frank. And he owns a business real similar to Functional Homes. He's out of New Jersey. And have you heard of him before, anyone? I can't remember the name of his company off the top of my head. But he's an OT and he's doing great. He's rocking it. He's doing a great job. He just took over the home modification section for AOTA as well. He took Marnie Renda's place. But he's a really good guy. He's done a lot of marketing, and he's got a very lucrative business, which he's actually in the process of turning into a franchise. It's doing that well. So, and he's somebody I talk to quite a bit. So I want to introduce him to this group as well. As an advisor, I was thinking sort of like Scott Jones. And I'm going to try to get Scott Jones over on Monday because he's a really good businessman. I would like to get his input as well. And I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Bev Van Phillips, I think her name is. She's done. Anybody heard of her? She's done a lot of aging in place with her business. And maybe we can get Carolyn Sithong to jump in too. I think we can, especially she's got an interest in this whole project because we are going to be using the Home for Life app. So I'll see if I can pin her down for next Monday too. But please, everybody, give a thought to positive words, how to promote this. If this was your business, how would you do it? Because you can use the results of this for your business wherever you're at. But they also want to know how to package it. $250. If that's the price, that's kind of the price I'm kind of looking at. To do a walkthrough for the house and write something up. But how to package this, how to write this up for people. But please give it some thought and let's talk next week.
Okay.
Is there anything else anybody would like to talk about before we go, or any announcements? Please look into the AOTA conference in Chicago. That's the other thing I'm going to be working on this week, and I'll try to pull some other people in on this to set up our field trip, where we're going to be doing a lot. We'll have some sort of home mod field trip, either going to the Frank Lloyd Wright home that was designed for home accessibility for wheelchair, or there's an aging friendly community, and there's an ADA accessibility complex. I don't know what that is. I'm going to meet with the guy in the next couple weeks and take a look at it. Okay. Well, happy holidays to everyone, no matter what holiday you're celebrating. I know there's a lot of holidays going on right now. I'll be celebrating Christmas and Hanukkah with my Jewish friends.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
good meeting.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you all for coming. I apologize again for the short notice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays to you too.
Yeah.
Take care, and I hopefully see you next Monday.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be off in just a second, babe. Hmm.